What's up, Fleek family? Today we're going to be covering the ultimate Ralph Lauren reselling guide. We are going to be covering everything from what prices should you be buying Ralph Lauren at, to what items should you actually be buying, to where should you be selling it, how do you make sure it is legitimate. All of this is going to be covered in this video. My name's George and I have sold a lot of Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren is well and truly my jam. Let's get straight into it. Why should you even resell Ralph Lauren in the first place compared to other brands like Carhartt, Dickies, that sort of stuff? My favorite thing with Ralph Lauren and why it's so great to actually resell is that it has something called high perceived brand value. Let's say you walk into a Ralph Lauren store and you want to buy a jumper like this. It's going to cost you about £170, which means it's like kind of expensive, right? Like it's worth a lot of money. However, on the used market, these only resell for about £40 to £50. Therefore, when people look at that price for a used item, it's still considered good value. I'm comparing this to other brands like Nike, when even when it's brand new, it might only be worth £50. So people are only prepared to pay a lot less. Whereas because this has like a high perceived value, Ralph Lauren stores are next to Gucci stores, Dior stores, they are, they're fancy stuff. People are prepared to still pay like quite a lot of money for used items. So even at the £50 mark, people are still prepared to pay. And as a vintage reseller, I know we can get those items for a lot less than that. And we'll get onto that in a minute. Ralph Lauren also has an amazing brand history. It's been around for a long time. And this is great because it means there's a really big brand catalog. So they've got items for winter, they've got items for summer, the spring, autumn, all that sort of stuff. And because they've been around for so long, there's a lot of clothes, which means as a vintage supplier, it's also great. There's no shortage of Ralph Lauren, really. It's very easy to get your hands on a lot of items. So whether you want 10 items or 1,000 items, you can get that. And then also because it's got the full year catalog, it also has full seasonal demand. So things like Carhartt, generally, if you're reselling the big Carhartt jackets, they only really sell in like autumn to winter. No one's buying that in the summer. But with Ralph Lauren, in the summer, you can sell t-shirts. In autumn, you can sell the jumpers. You can even sell trousers. It's got the full year longevity. It's a great brand to specialize in because you'll always have stuff to resell no matter the season, which is very important to consider as a clothes reseller. Okay, cool. So now we've covered why you should resell, what prices and items should you actually be buying. I've got a bunch of Ralph Lauren next to me. Let's jump into it and go through buy and sell prices. So this is really my bread and butter. This is one of my favorite items to sell. It's basically just a heavy knitted Ralph Lauren jumper. And these things you can generally buy for around £15 a piece and resell for about £40 to £50 per piece. Now, everything with Ralph Lauren, I will just quickly preface and say it's all to do with grade. So grade A pieces will always fetch the maximum amount of value. That is when it is like basically in a brand new condition. And this one's actually missing a size tag and the tag's kind of falling off. But apart from that, this thing is in absolutely amazing condition. With Ralph Lauren, grade is so important, more so than other categories. So that is one thing to consider. You really want to maximize your amount for grade A because grade B and grade C Ralph Lauren, really not much of a market there. People, if they're going to be buying a nice brand, they want it to also be in nice condition. Bear that in mind too. So that was an example of a heavy Ralph Lauren knit, but there's a few spin-offs. And in Ralph Lauren, there's a lot of like kind of spin-offy stuff. So here's another one. And this is a larger size. This is an XXL. I find bigger Ralph Lauren sizes, they're fine to sell for me. I know some people say big Nike and Adidas can be hard to sell, but big size Ralph Lauren, don't have to worry, sells all year round, a good one. And here's a heavy knit in a kind of funky pattern. Generally, these funky patterns, these actually sell for more. So if it's got a bit of a funk, a bit of a Christmas jumper vibe, don't be put off. This, I reckon I could fetch about 60, if not £70 for. Actually having a kind of unique piece like this will fetch you more money. Bear that in mind. Heavy knit jumpers like that are great to sell because they sell all year round. They're not super seasonal. People still buy them in summer because they're kind of formal. People buy them in winter because they're warm. It fits every category. One of the best sellers. However, they are not the best seller. The best selling Ralph Lauren item is the Ralph Lauren cable knit jumper. These are absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, I don't have any on me because they're actually getting kind of difficult to get just because they sell so fast. The Ralph Lauren cable knit comes in 3 different categories and you basically have the V-neck, the round neck, and then the cardigan. Ralph Lauren cable knit cardigans, you don't really want to touch these aren't great. But the Ralph Lauren cable knit V-neck and round necks are hot sellers. You can buy these items for around £16 to £20 per piece and sell these every single day. These are so easy to sell for around £45. And they sell on literally any platform, eBay, Vinted, Depop, it doesn't matter what you name, these things will fly off the shelves. If you are gonna get started into Ralph Lauren, this is the one product I would recommend. A lot of guys get put off them because they're like women's pieces. Look, when it comes to me and money, I don't care what I'm selling. I don't care if it's women's wear, men's wear, whatever. These things will print money. And then next up is quarter zips. These are probably the second or third best item to resell. Now, if you don't want to sell cable knits because you just don't think you can sell women's wear very well, then you want to be reselling quarter zips. Quarter zips, again, they sell all year round, but especially in autumn time, these things bang. They're also pretty easy to get their hands on, and there's so much quarter zip stock on the Fleek app, whereas other traditional wholesalers tend to not have these. Now, these are a little bit more pricey to buy. These do come in at a more premium price tag of around £18 15 to 20 pound per piece, but you can fetch around 40 to 60 pound per quarter zip. They are a very premium item with serious strong demand, especially in the UK and Europe, because like it's just a classy piece of clothing. The sales speed on these, it's up there with the cable knits, super fast sellers, super strong money, a brilliant item to resell if you're in the vintage game. Next up, you've got Ralph Lauren rugby shirts. Unfortunately, I don't have any of these on me right now, but these are a little bit more niche. They don't have a great sales volume compared to all of the other items I've covered, but you can buy these for around 15 pound a piece and sell them for around 14 pound a piece. These generally sell best on Depop is what I find, but they're a little bit more of a low-key item. They're pretty easy to source on the Fleek app, and yeah, another great item that you should definitely consider if you want to start reselling Ralph Lauren. Then you've got Ralph Lauren polo shirts. These are the classic Ralph Lauren item with the collar. Now, if you get the boring colors of these, you can buy these for around 10, 15 pound a piece, sell them for about 20, 25. However, if you can get some unique designs with some big text on the front or a big pony logo, that's when you can get in the serious money and they start fetching between 40 to 60 pound per piece. These are, again, a little bit more difficult to source, but get yourselves in the Fleek app, get messaging with a supplier. If you can find some of this stock, serious money. However, there are quite a few fakes of these about. So if you are going to source these, again, make sure it's on Fleek and watch out. A really simple way to tell if a piece of Ralph Lauren is real is by getting the tag and flipping it over. I'll put a photo on the screen. As you can see, a real one is kind of all jaggedy and messed up and has this special, like, complex pattern because it's a authenticity thing. And then all the fake ones, you will see they're just, plain back of a tag. They don't recreate this at all. This is probably the best / fastest way. However, if it's a good fake, they may be able to bypass these, and that is why you always buy on the Fleek app. Now, what is the highest profit item? Because what sells fast and makes a lot of money isn't necessarily the highest profit. Let me show you, because that is the Ralph Lauren USA knit. Well, it's not just the Ralph Lauren USA knit. This is the USA knit. This is what it looks like, and this is a super sought after design. These things resell for about 150 pounds, and that's because if you want one of these brand new, they're 450 pounds from the Ralph Lauren store, which is crazy. What also resells super well is the Ralph Lauren teddy bear knit. Again, if you want one of these fetch around 450 pounds in the Ralph Lauren store. So if you can find these on the used / wholesale market, they're about 50 to 70 pounds a piece. You can sell these used, even in used condition, although this is, again, grade A, brilliant piece. You can get around 150 pound per piece. So super high profit, but generally, if you do want to get access to stock like this, you need to have built up a very good relationship with your supplier. I've been lucky enough to do that, so I do get access to pieces like these in wholesale, and wow, really hard to come across, but these are absolutely diamond pieces. You can sell these super fast. Ralph Lauren collectors will buy a lot of these. High profit, but difficult to get, but definitely one you want to watch out for. You can sometimes find these on Vinted for steals, but yeah, keep an eye out. There's some other great stuff to resell, which is super easy to sort. It's kind of oddball bits. So this might be Ralph Lauren heavy knit vest pieces. You can buy these for about 10 to 15 pound a piece and sell these pretty well at 30 pound a piece. And then also you can get these turtlenecks. This is an absolutely lovely piece. This will be flying, selling really fast in winter. Again, similar price, buy for 15, sell for 30. Pretty good sales speed if it's the right season. Solid stuff to resell. You do want to watch out for kind of some of the uglier stuff. Super high turtlenecks or the kind of weird neck ones can be really difficult to sell. So you want to avoid those at all costs. Sometimes they will be thrown into some really good bundles just because suppliers need to get rid of them. It's one to consider. On those pieces, you're really only going to get 15 pound a piece. So definitely watch out for that. They're just not ideal to resell. Not a strong market for them. And then lastly, you've got Ralph Lauren shorts and chinos. You can buy these for around 10 to 15 pound a piece and sell them for around 30 pounds. The reason why I don't have any and don't sell any is because selling trousers and shorts can be a pain. I prefer selling jumpers and top half. When you're selling trousers, they generally sell well modeled, and that's a lot of work in my opinion. But yeah, these are also great sellers. It's really funny because one of my friends sells these a lot. I haven't found great success with them. Definitely want to try. I will probably be getting some as we get more into winter, just because they are, trousers are more of a winter piece. Ralph Lauren chinos are pretty good. Again, if you want to buy them from a store, they're going to cost you £100 plus, and there is a lot of stock of these on the market. But if you are going to do trousers, you definitely want grade A, because for smart formal wear, people really don't want any defects, so grade B might not be the right market for those. So how on earth do you find a Ralph Lauren supplier? How on earth do you buy Ralph Lauren in wholesale? Let me explain, because it's all done in this one app. You want to go on your phone and install the Fleek app. This is the app that we made, which will help you source all of your vintage clothes. It's the #1 marketplace for vintage clothes in the world. It's a global marketplace, so suppliers in Pakistan and India basically get sent a bunch of wholesale clothes. They sort through them and pull out all of the good bits, and this is where they list all of the stock. So here you can chat to them, make offers, and find all of the best Ralph Lauren bits, and also build supplier relationships, which is exactly how I've got access to all of the best Ralph Lauren clothes literally in the world, which is kind of crazy to say, but it's because I've spent a lot of money with those guys and they know me. I'm the Ralph Lauren guy, so they will sell to me. So make sure you download the Fleek app, go and check it out, because that is literally the #1 place to source Ralph Lauren in the world. It's got the majority of the Ralph Lauren stock in the world, so I can pretty much guarantee you will find something you're looking for. That is the majority of secondhand and vintage stock, by the way, not new pieces, at an incredible price. It's also legit checked. You've also got great customer support, and you can also, like I said, chat to your suppliers, make an offer. And there you go. That is how you go about sourcing, buying, and selling Ralph Lauren. If you guys have any other questions, drop them in the comments, and the Fleek team will make sure to get back to you.